Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we are seeing this aspect where how to contemplate steadily and direct our attention to the self continuously. We had done till 394, so we continue ahead, 395. Vaktavyam kimu vidyatetra bahudha brahmaiva jiva swayam brahmaitad jagada tatam nu sakalam brahmadvitiyam shrutihi brahmaivahamiti prabuddhamatayah santyakta bahya sfutam brahmi bhuya vasanti santatachita anandatmanaitadhruvam. Vaktavyam kimu vidyate atra. What is left to be said now here? Bahudha, meaning what more? What more is left to be said here now? Brahmaiva Jiva Swayam. Brahma, Jiva is Brahman alone. And not that only Jiva is Brahman, this whole universe also is Brahman. Brahma etad jagadadatam nu sakalam. This whole universe is pervaded by that one Brahman. Brahmadvitiyam Shrutihi. And the scriptures also declare that Brahman is non-dual, Brahman alone is Brahmaivahamiti Prabuddha Mataya. The people who are realized, they also have this experience, Brahmaivaham, that I am that pure Brahman alone. Santyakta Bahya Sfutam. Withdrawn from the world outside. Brahmi Bhuya Vasanti Santata Chidanandatmanai Tadhruvam. So he says here that they have withdrawn their association from the world outside and they live constantly in that state of Brahman, Brahmi Bhuya Vasanti. And what is that nature of Brahman? Chit and Ananda. Satchidanand, basically, that. So now, what does this verse tell us? What is the scripture saying? What is the experience of the great masters? And what is the conclusion finally? That how much ever one may describe, the final truth is Brahman is our true nature. Brahman alone pervades everywhere outside. And this is validated by Shruti, Yukti and Anubhuti, all the three. The scriptural declaration is that Brahmadvitiyam Shruti. The purpose of the study of the scripture is to realize that Brahman, which is non-dual, which is infinite and gaining which nothing more remains to be gained. Has anybody experienced it? Yes, all the realized masters have experienced. That's what it is. Prabuddha Mataya. Those who have awakened, they all have the same experience, wherever in the world they may be. It's not only in our country. Because Brahman is beyond name, form, attributes, is our true self. beyond language. Wherever anybody in the world, at whenever at any point in time they have realized, the same Brahman has been realized. So Brahmi Bhuya Vasanti. They have become Brahman and they stay. They abide in that. No more they think of themselves as a Jiva. So why this verse is coming here now? Because when we think about it, that no matter what we study in the scripture, we may study, the scriptures are very vast. 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, then Upaveda, then Agama Shastra, then Tantra Shastra. So many divisions are there. Itihasa Purana, 18 other Puranas are there, 18 Upapuranas are there. Now, what is the essence of all these? In one lifetime to study all this is not even possible. But this entire Shruti, the essence of the entire Shruti is this Brahma Advitiyam Shruti. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara are nothing but expressions of one Brahman, appearances of one Brahman. That non-dual Brahman is what the scriptures are saying. So when we determine that the essence of the scriptures is to realize the self, whatever helps me to discover that, I should stick to those aspects and start my sadhana, start my contemplation, reflection. So Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, all that one should start. No point in going on reading so many scriptures. The essence of all the scriptures is to know Brahman. And read the lives of such great people who have experienced Brahman. How they have struggled, what is their effort, how did they realize, what is their change in the vision after they have realized. Some of them have conversations, some of them give talks, some of them just answer questions. But as one reads the literature of some of them themselves compose. So as one reads their literature, more and more one gets the conviction that the self can be experienced. It is our true nature, the essence of the scriptures, and the entire universe. Then when I live with that bhav that I am serving the Lord, or Brahman is here, Brahman is there. There is only one Brahman. All the roles, etc., are just a functional reality. They are not absolute reality. Absolute reality is only one, that is Brahman. So that's why he says, Kim Vaktavyam Kimu Vidyate Etra Bahuda. How much can one go on talking? Further also it will come that there is the whole world gets falsified in that state. When one has withdrawn completely in that state of quietude, samadhi, everything else then becomes mere prattling. But that is in comparison to the experience. This is not to undermine the study of the scripture or to undermine any discussion on the Shastra. But this is to say that merely intellectually, how much can one go on talking when the fact is that I must get the conviction that Brahman alone is myself and Brahman alone is the substratum of the whole universe. And to get that conviction, study the scriptures, reflect on it, read the lives of saints, reflect on their teachings, and finally sit and contemplate. Continuous attention to the self goes then. So this is where it is. Gurudev has said in his commentary that Shankaracharya ji has given us the essence of Advaita philosophy in half a verse, which he has quoted down. Shlokardhena pravakshyami yaduktam grantha kotibhihi. In half a verse, I will tell you what has been said in hundreds and thousands of scriptures. What is that? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Brahman alone is real, the world is an illusion, and Jiva is not different from Brahman. 3 points in the second quarter of that verse. So Gurudev has quoted that here, saying ki similarly it is in this verse also. Bhaktavyam kimu vidyate. How much, what is there to talk so much? The ultimate fact is, irrefutable fact is, Brahman is our true nature, Brahman is the self, and Brahman is the substratum of the world. Now, how to realize that? All efforts have to be put for that. So now we go ahead. What is that which is not aiding this realization, or which is an obstacle in this realization? The biggest obstacle is body identification, thinking of myself as this body. So this 296 and 297 are to speak about that. Jahimalamaya koshe ham dhiyotthapitasham prasabha manila kalpe linga dehepi paschat nigamadita kirtim nityamananda murtim निगमगदित कीर्तिम नित्यमानंद मूर्तिम स्वयमिति परिचीय ब्रह्मरूपेण तिष्ठा. So he says, Jahi malamaya koshe aham dhiya utthapitasham. When we identify ourselves with the gross body, malamaya kosha, he said, not even annamaya kosha, malamaya kosha. It is a bundle of dirt and filth. Identifying with this bundle of dirt and filth, when I think of myself as this aham dhiya, utthapita asham, our hopes are raised. Identified with the body, we feel more excited to live, enjoying pleasures of life, going out, eating, drinking, smelling, tasting, touching, so many things. So the hopes are raised as though I'm going to get more and more happiness. He says you annihilate all these hopes. Why? Because they are only going to give temporary pleasure. Please remember again, this is all being said for a mumukshu. What was said in the beginning of the Vivek Chudamani. Durvara samsara davagni taptam is getting as though heated in this samsara agni, feeling the scorching heat, the burn of this samsara agni. Durvara samsara davagni taptam dodhuyamanam duradrishtavatai, being tossed about by terrible winds in this world. Having seen the world, this person is experiencing all this. So this is meant for such a mumukshu. If we want to enjoy the world, we want to go out, that is up to us. But finally the scripture tells this to the mumukshu, saying ki drop all the hopes raised by identifying yourself with this bundle of dirt and filth. Jahi malamaya koshe aham dhiyo utthapita asham. Nobody wants to go anywhere near a dustbin. It will stink. Forget dustbin. In the home, in the kitchen, when we keep the plate, if that food is not cleaned up and the plate is left as it is, it will start stinking. The body is also made up of that food only. Just that it is covered nicely with the skin. Otherwise, it is bundle of dirt and filth. It is food product, byproduct of food, which decays as it stays in. It goes on decaying. And even if it becomes the flesh, that cells are dying every minute. The body releases so much of sweat and so much of stink and dirt and many things. One has to go on cleaning it. But one doesn't see the body in that light. One sees the body as an object of pleasure. So the hopes are increased. So Jahi Malamaya Koche Aham Dhiyotthapitasham. So that is the first thing to be done. If I want to steadily contemplate, my attachment to the body must become much lesser. Keeping the body identification strong and thinking of body as a source of happiness, if I want to meditate and realize the self, it is not possible. Because they are completely opposite. One is identifying with the finite and being extrovert. Other is identifying with the infinite and going introvert. So it is not possible to have both these together. That's why he says drop. What should I drop? All the hopes and expectations. Asham. Nobody is saying drop the body. Jahi malamaya koshe aham dhiyo uthapita asham. Drop the asha, the hopes. No, so should we not be enthusiastic about life? One can be enthusiastic about life, but a seeker is more enthusiastic about seeking and realizing the self. But one has seen enough. No elder grown up is ever more enthusiastic about childhood toys. Child may be excited about it, not the elder person. So one has to grow up in that sense. So drop the hopes that this through this body I will get permanent happiness. That is a false expectation actually. More and more disappointment only comes. No, but I don't want permanent happiness. I want temporary pleasure. It is fine. Then the Vivek Chudamani is not applicable only to us. If my seeking is only for temporary pleasure, no need of the scripture. That too anyway I can get. Shastra is to help me realize the permanent, not the temporary. So when the awakening happens within, ki enough is enough now, how much can I go on indulging in this world? At some point I have to turn with it. Because lack of fulfillment is experienced by everyone. Whoever identifies with the body and goes on experiencing pleasure at the body level, at some point one will say, but what is all this now? My sense of incompleteness never goes. I get more exhausted, tired, beaten up, fatigued. That's all. So he says, drop this. How much energy goes in all this? If I drop all this, then I can continuously think about the self. So first point he says that Jahi Malamaya Koshe Aham Dhiyo Thapitasha. Then he says Prasabham Anila Kalpe Linga Dehepi Paschat. Then one should do the same thing with the subtle body also, but do it with force. Prasabham, with firmness, with force. Anila Kalpe, it is like air. Anila Kalpe Linga Dehepi Paschat. The subtle body also one should drop like that. Meaning drop the identification. I don't know what is there in your book, but in my book it was Linga Gavehepi. So ve after ga, linga. If it is ve, you please delete that ve and write de. It is linga dehepi, not linga vehepi. So prasabham anila kalpe linga dehepi paschat. The linga sharira also, after I have dropped my attachment to the body, I should drop attachment to the subtle body also. Why it is anila kalpa? It is air-like because it is subtler. It is not perceptible to the senses. And it is that linga sharira. See, the word linga sharira is very nice. Linga means what? Linga means a sign, a symbol. So as long as the subtle body is identified with the gross body, that is a sign of the gross body being alive. Because the linga sharira has the capability to reflect consciousness because of its subtle nature. Just like air is subtle. You can't see, but you can feel the presence of that air. Same way, the subtle body is not gross, tangible, visible like this gross body, but its presence is felt. Why? Because the body is alive and I am able to see, hear, taste, smell, touch, feel, think. Pranas are functioning. So all that is the expression of the subtle body. So on one hand, subtle body indicates presence of life in the gross body. On the other hand, subtle body is that which is able to reflect consciousness. So it is a sign also that through that I can realize consciousness. So he says, drop the attachment to the subtle body that I am this In fact, the Nirvana Shatkam starts with that. Mano buddhi hankara chittani naham nacha shrotra jivve nacha grana netre. So I am not the four aspects of the antakarana. I am not the five senses. He starts by negating subtle body. Same way here it is. And do it with force, with lot of determination. Why? See, to give up attachment to the body only is not easy. What is visible? We may still be able to give up attachment to the body because, especially as the body grows old, then one starts feeling, no, no, this is old, I am not this. I'm not saying always one will, but it is more easier to give up attachment to the gross body. But to give up attachment to subtle body, because that subtle body we have carried for many, many lives. Gross body drops. So one knows that before the gross body was born, I was not there in this body form, but I was there in subtle body form. Then this body was born. Now I have come into this form. And at some point this body will drop. But I as a jiva will continue. So now this gross body is only one form in so many forms that I have taken. Still, it is not easy to drop the attachment to this body also, but it is more easier than the subtle body because this is much more, it is very temporary. And what was said earlier, Malamaya Kosha, so one sees that, array, this is dirt and filth only. Really, there's nothing here. We may keep giving bath to it and we may keep putting all kinds of deodorants and beauty products and all that just to keep this looking attractive. Otherwise, this is Malamaya Kosha. So it is easier to drop attachment to this body, but with this subtle body, very difficult. Because my sense of I, small I, is coming from the subtle body. Not from causal body which is unmanifest and not from gross body by itself. It is the subtle body which has that ahankar, Mr. So and so. That Mr. So and so is carrying forward for so many lives. The whole subtle body is carrying forward. So I have lived as the subtle body for millions of lives, as the jiva. As the sthula sharir, I have lived only in that one embodiment and that dies over. No attachment to that, the subtle body will leave. But the subtle body to leave and say, I am not this, I am that one Brahman. So that's why he says prasabham. One has to do with lot of force. Prasabham anila kalpe linga dehepi paschat. Nigama gadita kirtim nityam ananda murtim. Nigama means the scripture. Nigama gadita kirtim. The glory that is described by the scriptures, Nityam Ananda Murtim, the glory of the self, that the self is of the nature of eternal bliss. Swayamiti Parichiya, you must realize this by yourself. Brahma Rupena Tishtha. Live as Brahman. So, realize that Brahman, which is of the nature of supreme bliss, which is our own true self, and live as Brahman, finally. So, three steps given here. Detach from the body identification first. Drop the subtle body identification next. Through steady contemplation, wake up and realize that I am one Brahman, that alone pervades everything. Attachment to the gross body can go with Pratipaksha Bhavana. More and more I see that this is a bundle of dirt and filth. More and more I see that this is just a tool for sadhana, not a instrument given for mere sense enjoyments. It is not for bhoga, it is for yoga it has been given. So detachment from the gross body happens with Pratipaksha Bhavana. Detachment from subtle body, how it will happen? The sense of I can overcome only when I give up what sustains this I. Raga and Dvesha sustain this I. 6 vikaras, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, that sustains this I. And hence I have to give up these and come to equanimity. These will keep the mind in fluctuation. And when the mind remains in fluctuation, the ego thrives very clearly, strongly. Because the ego lives in extremes. The ego lives in fluctuation. The ego does not live in samatha. In samatha, ego will get dissolved. That's why in the Gita it is said, Matra sparshas to kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkha daha. When the senses contact the sense objects, the mind will experience heat and cold, pleasure and pain, success and failure, all that. But agama apayanaha, anityaha. They come and they go, and they are ephemeral. Tan stitikshasva bharata. Bhagavan says, you just bear them. What will happen if we do that equanimity of mind? Yam hi na vyathayantyete purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram saha amritatvaya kalpate. That person is fit for immortality who is not affected by these pairs of opposites, who remains in equanimity. So that is when I develop vairagya, which is freedom from raga and dvesha, when I transform my selfishness, kama, to nishkama, selflessness, then the rest of the 5 vikaras also will go. And then this mind remains equanimous. Happiness, sadness may come and go, but one is not overwhelmed by it, one is not completely distracted by it. One maintains the balance, and after some point it doesn't even affect. That equanimity, when it comes, then it becomes easy to drop this subtle body. How to drop this subtle body identification? Contemplate steadily on Brahman that I am that, I am not this. So through steady contemplation, the subtle body identification is dropped, and when I contemplate steadily, the ignorance that is there, which is causal body, that also will go. Why causal body has not been explained here? Because it is unmanifest. But its expression is gross body, subtle body. So when I detach from the gross body, when I detach from the subtle body, and then I contemplate steadily, that contemplation will give rise to Brahma Jnana, which will destroy the causal body, and which will make me realize Brahma Rupena Tishtha. He says, you remain as Brahma. So one will realize that my nature is Ananda Murti, Nityam Ananda Murti. Constant, eternal, supreme bliss is my nature as the self, not as the BMI. Swayamiti Parichiya Brahma Rupena Tishtha. Know that Brahman as one's own self. The similar thought is continued ahead here. Shavakaram yavad bhajati manujastavad parebhyasyat klesho janana marana vyadhinilayah yadatmanam shuddham kalayati shivakaramachalam tada tebhyo mukto bhavati hi tadaha shrutirapi. So now here he says, Shavakaram yavad bhajati manujaha tavad ashuchihi. As long as one worships this corpse body, body which is like a corpse, shavakaram. Body by itself is anyway inert, dead. It is dead body actually. Death doesn't come at one point in time. Body by itself is dead. Unless the life doesn't enliven this, consciousness doesn't enliven this through subtle body, this body is dead. Even at this minute, it is dead. Garbhopanishad says that Jiva enters this gross body in the 6th month. Till then, it is growing as a part of mother's body. Jiva enters only then. So it was a shava, it was just a piece of flesh. Then the Jiva enters. Then one is born. And one thinks, I am alive. But the body was dead all along. The moment this subtle body drops and the Jiva ejects from this gross body, it is again dead. Like electricity. Bulb was always dull. The electricity enlivens, then it gives light. If the current stops, no light. It is like that. So Shavakaram Yavad Bhajati Manujaha Tavad Ashuchihi. That person will remain impure as long as one thinks I am this gross body. See, nobody embraces a corpse. Nobody likes to enjoy with a corpse. These are powerful analogies to think about to get out of body identification. Shavakaram, if a dead body is there, one has to preserve it, one has to embalm it, one has to do so many things, otherwise it will decay very fast. And nobody thinks of any sense enjoyment with the corpse. People around don't think, and that Jiva itself has departed, so that Jiva also will not be able to enjoy anything with that Shava. This is the same. Right now also this is Shava only. By itself it is Shava. But how much one is imagining? I will go here, I will eat this, I will see that, I will become this. Again I am saying nothing wrong in by itself doing any of these, but to think of myself as this Shavakaram Yavad Bhajati and then to engage in all those, or a seeker of knowledge who has studied the scripture, etc., that is Ashuchi only. As long as I think I am this body, it is impure. So forget what people tell us that, in Hindu culture, women are considered impure. Array, all bodies are considered. Body identification itself is considered impure. I am identifying with this bundle of dirt and filth, Malamaya Kosha. So whether it is man's body or a woman's body or any other gross body, it is made up of dirt and filth only. From the Atma standpoint, when we think about it, what is this gross body? It is just a bundle of dirt and filth. So the more and more one thinks about that why am I identifying with this byproduct of food, a bundle of dirt and filth, or 7 dhatus, 5 elements? So why am I this? Shavakaram yavad bhajati manujah tavad ashuchi. That till that time one will be impure. How much ever one may beautify this body and put makeup and this and that and do some trimming and anything one does, it is still ashuchi. Parebhya syat klesho janana marana vyadhi nirayah. What is the dukkha with this body? By itself, it is a bundle of dirt. It is a corpse. Then, parebhyo syat klesha, identified with this body. Now, I think of the world as different from me, people are different from me, God is different from me. Now that klesha starts. Raga, dvesha, klesha, all that starts. When I'm not identified with this body in the deep sleep, no klesha, no raga, dvesha, no fighting, nothing. In samadhi, nothing. In chloroform, nothing. So this body becomes the cause of klesha also. Parebhya syat klesha. Then vyadhi nilaya. It is a abode of diseases. So many diseases one goes through in life. Recent now coronavirus, everybody is so scared about coronavirus. Now you can't talk, you can't cough, you can't sneeze. What a predicament. Of course, by that time we should have done even before also, not just now. We keep doing that. We use a handkerchief but the point here is that this body is an abode of diseases and new diseases will keep coming. A human being doesn't learn. In spite of so many of these diseases which were not in the human cycle at all, so many are coming from the animals. The world still continues to eat non-vegetarian. I'm told there is a good documentary on Netflix. I've not seen yet, but a documentary called Game Changer. It's supposed to be about this food choices. So, how human being lives, a body by itself is abode of diseases. Continuously, we are being attacked at the body level by so many bacteria, virus, and whatnot. As long as the immunity is strong, till then one manages. But the moment immunity goes down, finished. This body is, we don't see this body like that. We see the body only as a very fascinating equipment to indulge and enjoy. But every single moment, this body is being attacked, and the germs and the bacteria and the virus, they are eating away this body. The moment that immunity goes down, the entire body will collapse. All those things, they say vital signs are going down. Even then the body goes after that. Why? Because some infection, something has started, it has spread, now immunity is down, nothing more can be done, gone. All along it was a abode of diseases only. That abode of diseases, I am with delusion, I am thinking to be a source of entertainment and pleasure. So he says, Vyadhi Nilaya. And then because of that body, Janana and Marana, birth and death cycle also I am going through. So I am seeing the world as different. I am experiencing so many diseases, and then the cycle of birth and death also I am stuck in. This is the consequence of identifying with this Shava. Completely opposite of this is Shiva. Yad Atmanam Shuddham Kalayati Shivakaram Achalam. Atma is the purest. Body is impure. Atma is the purest. Shuddham. Body is Shava. Atma is Shiva. Shivakaram. That is Shavakaram. This is Shivakaram. Body goes on moving. Atma is steady, stationary, achalam. Tada tebhyo mukto bhavati tadaha shrutirapi. So he says that when this person thinks of oneself as this Shivakaram, this pure consciousness which is unshaking, unchanging, then this person will be free. From what? From all these sorrows of birth and death and disease and old age. All that. One will be free. Tada tebhyo mukta bhavatihi tadaha shrutirapi. The scriptures also say that. So our journey is what? Move from Shavakar to Shivakar. From Shava to Shiva, we have to move. In this now, Gurudev has written one very nice, powerful line. He says, as long as man identifies with his physical body, composed entirely of matter, and so lifeless in itself, he is impure. Even after taking a bath and applying powder and perfume to the body, it remains impure. As long as you identified with it by doing its puja, washing it, powdering it, dressing it, you too are impure. A scavenger you are, as long as you carry this filth and polish this body bucket. See that? It clarifies down, saying it does not mean that one should not keep the body clean. Regular cleanliness is a must. But let not its beautification be your sole preoccupation. Do not ever equate yourself with this contemptible dross producer of foul matter. Powerful line. But this is most hard hitting. A scavenger you are, as long as you carry this filth and polish this body bucket. Scavenger only. Identifying with this filth. So these two verses are to give that vairagya, because steady contemplation can happen only when there is vairagya. With all kinds of body identification, fascination, desires for its enjoyment, and then with the mind identification, steady contemplation cannot happen. So these two have to be dropped. So these two verses are to remove the one of the main obstacles is body identification. So vairagya is something that keeps, which has to be strengthened again and again. So it is not that at one point we cultivate vairagya and then only listen, reflect, contemplate. No, this will go together simultaneously. Vairagya has to keep getting strengthened again and again. One has to check. So if there are different parameters to know, am I progressing spiritually or not? So clarity in thinking can be one, equanimity of the mind can be one. How much body identification is there? How much do I think that I am this and I have to enjoy through this? If that is high, that means my spiritual progress is still basic. If that is low, then I'm advancing better, I'm advancing fast. If I think of myself only as this body, and enjoyment of this body is my enjoyment, and I am enjoying life because I enjoy through this body, then my spiritual progress is very slow. So I have to understand the deeper aspects of this, that Shavakaram, Shivakaram, that why am I identifying with this bundle of dirt when I have the opportunity. In 84 lakh species, in 14 worlds, only one combination, Earth, human body, can speed up our evolution. Why miss that opportunity? So one has to convince oneself. With proper vivek, then vairagya will come. When we strengthen this vairagya, then the contemplation becomes steady. So this ends that section of continuous attention to the self. Now comes the next one. Again, see some of these thoughts now which come, you will see some repetition in them, because for steady contemplation, Vivek Chudamani has given quite a few verses. Steady contemplation on the self. So wherever we have done some of these concepts, we will go through them quickly. So 398. स्वात्मन्यारोपिता शेषा भासवस्तु निरासतः स्वयमेव परं ब्रह्म पूर्णमद्वयमक्रियम्. So swatmani aropita shesha bhasavastu nirasatah. Whatever is superimposed on the self, swatmani aropita shesha. When we negate all those false superimpositions, then what remains? Swayameva param brahma. Brahman alone remains. What is the nature of that Brahman? Purnam advayam akriyam. It is of the nature of completeness, non-dual reality it is, and it is not a karta, akriyam, beyond all activities. So swatmani aropita ashesha. So many things that one has superimposed. What has one superimposed? But panchakosha one has superimposed on the Atma. One thinks of oneself as the finite entity. Atma is infinite. One thinks of oneself as a finite entity. Then Atma is the substratum of the whole world. But then one has thought, one has separated that. I am separate, world is separate. These are all superimpositions put on the Atma. So he says, when you remove all these, Shesha Atmani Aropita Shesha, Bhasa Vastu Nirasata, all these apparent limitations, we have superimposed. They are not there on the Atma. In Samadhi, it is not there because that is the true self. But when we come out of that state, when we identify falsely with the body, then we are making that infinite finite. We are making the uh, unborn into born, undying into dying. All these are superimposition: birth, change, death, superimposition. Why? Because that's the nature of the BMI, not the Atma. So the nature of BMI is getting superimposed on the Atma. And the consciousness, the enlivening factor of the Atma is getting superimposed into the inert body. Like we have seen earlier, the iron ball and the fire coming together. So the cold, round, dark iron ball and the formless, hot, bright fire, when they come together, it appears as though the fire has taken form. So fire has become round and his iron ball has become bright. Iron ball has now light. So this is called mutual superimposition. What has to be done? If we leave it as it is for some time, then that iron ball will return to its nature. In the same way here, through sadhana, etc., when we split, then the superimposition is destroyed, removed. That I am not this body, mind, intellect, what was said earlier. From Shavakar to Shivakar. If I move, then what happens? Swayameva Param Brahma. I am that Supreme Brahman. One will realize that. And in that Brahman, there is Purnata, there is complete fulfillment. Purnam. Advayam, it is non-dual. So there is no question of fear. So Purnam refers to fulfillment, that having gained it, nothing more remains to be gained. Advayam refers to non-duality and hence fearlessness, because fear comes out of duality. And Akriyam refers to non-doership. The self is beyond all activity. Karta Bhokta is the Jiva. Self is the enlivener of this Jiva. Which means who is Purnam? I am Purnam. Who is fearless? I am fearless. Who is Advaya? I am Advaya. And who is Akriya? I am that Akriya. I means the real I, Brahman. Swayameva Param Brahma. So in this way, one has to contemplate that I am that pure Brahman who is Purnam, Advayam, Akriyam, and remove the false identification. So these two are not sequential, they are simultaneous. Negation and realization, they are together. On one hand, I negate that I am not this. On the other hand, I assert I am this. Then the realization happens. So here it appears it is sequential. That bhasa vastu nirasata. When the nirasa of that happens, then this realization happens. Of course, the nirasa or the rejection of this happens completely, then the truth is realized. But how will I just negate completely? When I keep asserting this, the negation also will happen completely. So negation assertion goes hand in hand. Continuing further. Samahitayam sati chitta vrittau paratmani brahmani nirvikalpe न दृश्यते कश्चिदयं विकल्पः प्रजल्पमात्र परिशिष्यते यतः samahitayam sati chitta vrittau. When the mind has become completely quieted, all the thoughts have become completely quiet. where not in blank, Paramatmani Brahmani Nirvikalpe, in that supreme Brahman which is non-dual. What will be the experience then? Na drishyate kaschidayam vikalpaha. This world is not seen even a bit. See, this line is powerful. Na drishyate kaschid ayam vikalpaha. This world will not even be seen a little bit. Prajalpa matra parishishyate yataha. What remains is only just mere talk. Everything becomes just words. When in front of that state, everything is mere vain talk. So what does this verse mean? This verse means that this is the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Abiding in the self through continuous practice of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, this verse means that when that person has withdrawn the attention, the mind has become completely quiet. Samahitaya. Dha means to place. Dadhati. Dha means to place. Samahita comes from that word. When the mind is placed properly, where? In Brahman, meaning the mind has got absorbed, dissolved in that Brahman. That false sense of identity is not there anymore. Then what happens? Will I still see the world? Not even a bit. As long as Jiva Bhav is there, Jagat is there, Ishvara is there. If Jiva Bhav is not there, no Jagat, no Ishvara. No, that we can't believe. Every night that is happening. In deep sleep, when I go beyond body, mind, intellect, where is Jiva Bhav? No Jiva Bhav. Is there a Jagat to experience? No Jagat. Is there an Ishvara? No Ishvara. What we experience in that deep sleep, in unconscious state, that we experience here in a conscious state. The whole world literally disappears. One will not see the world in that state. Na drishyate kaschidayam vikalpaha. Kaschid is the word used. Not even a bit. Prajalpa matra parishishyate yataha. Then it all becomes mere talk, words, empty words. Meaning all sadhanas are to quieten this mind, dissolve its identity, realize Brahman. In that state of Brahman, there is no duality at all. That's what this section says. No diversity in reality. In reality, there is only one absolute self. There is no multiplicity, variety, diversity, nothing there. That's why it was Advaya, it was earlier called. Advaya, Akriya, Purnam. So the world literally disappears. When Jiva gone, Jagat is also gone, Ishvara also gone, Brahman alone remains. Not an absence, not a blank. That is the state. That's why this calls for highest Vairagya. The example given for this is the waker and the dreamer. When the waker wakes up, the entire dream world disappears. But then realize people, we are seeing them working in the world and they are looking at the world and everything. That is from our standpoint. We are identified with the body, so we see their body and then we see they are functioning. So we say that their body is, prarabdha karma is exhausting, getting exhausted. But their identification is with the Atma only, which is a fact. But from that standpoint which they experience, no world. See, it's very difficult to comprehend that. In Samadhi Avastha, at least it is still understandable that the mind is transcended, mind has become completely absorbed in the self. That time there is no experience of the world. But when they come out of it also, they don't have experience of the world. And yet they are seen transacting in the world. That's why a Jivan Mukta is a mystery. It will come ahead, what is the characteristic of a Jivan Mukta. But when Raman Maharshi was asked that World War II is going on, please give a message. He said, which world? Now one may say that he is saying that in the world only. But that is you and I hearing like that. They are trying to use some words to explain that wordless state. So it will be like that only. That for them, mind is not functioning in that sense. The psychological entity that you and I have, they don't have that. It is falsified. It is known as a myth. So no experience of the world in that state. So will I experience the world or not? That's why in the Gita also you see Arjuna has asked two questions. In the Sthita Prajna Lakshan, two set of questions. One is Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava. In the state of samadhi, what will that person experience? Because in that state, one has withdrawn. And then when one comes into the world, Sthitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. How does that person speak? How does that person sit? How does that person walk? Meaning, how does that person transact with the world of objects, people, and situations? Is there any difference in their transaction in the world and our transaction? A huge difference. Raga dvesha vayuktaistu vishayan indriyaschara. They move in the world without raga and dvesha, without ahankar. Vihaya kaman yasarvan. Nirmama nirahankara. No mamata, no ahankar. Both gone. And what do they experience in samadhi? Atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnas tadochyate. Reveling in the self, by the self, where all the desires have been dropped. Rajati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata. All gone. That state is the state of samadhi. So this is actually the goal. The nature of this self is this, that one realizes the absolute truth, then the world disappears. No, but what will happen if the world disappears? Nothing will happen. It anyway doesn't exist. What happens when the dream disappears? Is there a big loss? There is no loss. It was never there. When the snake disappears and rope reveals itself, what is the loss? Nothing. No, Swamiji, but at this point in time, we are identified with the body and the world are very difficult. Then it is difficult only. It was said earlier. As long as the Dehatma Bhav is there, so long this state cannot be realized. Which is why I should have seen enough in the world. Then get the Vairagya, get up, wake up. There is no sense of regret at all. Why? Because illusion has disappeared. The truth, when it reveals, there is a great joy in the revelation of the truth. Today, the problem is I am finding great joy reveling in the illusion. We find great joy reveling in the illusion. The great masters find supreme bliss in the revelation of the truth. That's the difference. They realize that Purnatvam, Advaya, Akriya, they are in bliss. Supreme bliss. Swayam Brahma Param. So for today we will stop here. Any questions?
Namaste Swamiji. This last line that you explained, now a Jivan Mukta continues and lasts for as long as Prarabdha lasts. So when you say na drishyate, not seen, this cannot mean that he does not see differences because he transacts, right?
Transacts from whose standpoint? Prarabdha is for whom?
For the body.
Is he the body? So that's why the explanation of Prarabdha is from our standpoint, not from their standpoint. The body lasts because we are seeing that. So we are seeing that the body is there and the body is working. So the Shastra explains it is the Prarabdha of that body. But the person has risen above body identification. So that person doesn't even think it is my body. Person is absorbed in the self only. Yadgatva na nivartante. So that's why it is difficult. This verse actually is talking only about Samadhi Avastha. I brought the Jivan Mukta in the Vyavahar also. But the verse by itself is talking only of Samadhi Avastha. But their experience is the same.
Okay.
See, if their experience changes inside Samadhi and outside Samadhi, then there is, why will I strive for this state? Because the state is changing. So
Okay.
from the absolute standpoint, when they are realizing they are in that absolute self, no world, whether acting, not acting makes no difference. That is the body going through, and you and I see it as this. If we lift ourselves to that state of samadhi, then only we can understand what a Jivan Mukta experiences, that there is nothing happening. That is their experience throughout.
Okay. Thank you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.